evening, everyone. Welcome to May 14th BDL board meeting. I'm the chair, Christopher Dunn, roll call. Fred Woodman here.
Larry Weinberg.
Jason Eunice. So we have 4 out of 6 seated members, so we do have a quorum. Tonight's meeting is an open meeting in accordance with New York State Public Open Meeting Law. We are live on Zoom and live on Reserve 4 BDL Community Building at 557, as we affectionately call it, because staying in the community building is far too long here in New Windsor. This meeting also is being recorded and will be put on our YouTube website through it's actually, what is the actual name of it? Is it just
BDL Advisory Board?
BDL Advisory Board. If you search it on YouTube, you'll be able to pull it up. You can see a history of several years of meetings. We still have 2 members that should probably come. We didn't get word they were not. But we'll roll back to that when they arrive. Will you please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion has been adopted. Should have asked everybody, got a chance to look at it before, right? All right. First part, administrative. Our last board meeting was held on March 19th. As we always mention every single time, official board member communications, bdlboard@gmail.com. It's the best way to reach your resident advisory board. We have some new things that we just want to kind of rehash. We just had another successful registration event, in-person event, where I think we had 39 new registrants, or at least get registering with the new stickers and hang tags. Some were, how many do you think were new?
About
Like brand new?
Oh, brand is hard to say. You would know.
Probably about a third of them have been here a
Yeah.
long time and never done it before.
So that's great. That's great. It's the idea, getting new people to know the policies around here and showing new.
Making it easy to follow the rules.
That's right. That's right. All right. So new boat storage policies are now in effect. Please familiarize yourself with the newest rules as you apply for these blue and white stickers. So the orange ones will sunset. They're still good. You're still going to be fine with them until July. And then after that, you can take them off and destroy them. There is one thing, and I just kind of like to add this. Is that for example, going forward, all pedal boats are required to have a cover to keep water from collecting inside of any part of the vessel, basically to stop mosquito larvae. And that was just one of, I think, about 11 new small policy changes. We call it the BDL Resident Permit Program, and you can find it on the Orange County website. It's orangecountygov.com/2021/resident permit program. But if you just search that, you'll find that on the Orange County DPW website. An official district email has been sent out at this point by the board, and the above link, of course, we put that out in an email as well on May 6th. So check your email, May 6th email. That link will take you right to it, and there will also at some point be new signage to back up those some of the policies. We're not going to put the whole thing up, but at some point, if we get our signage where we were going to get these kiosks, we had a resident or 2 that wanted to be involved. Once we get those, kind of the thought was to get kind of like a Adirondack or a Appalachian Trail style sign-in kiosk with the roof with weekly events and monthly events and just basic knowledge around the lake and the area and maps, different places, just to make another way to make it easier for residents just to stay on top and know the rules and the laws about the district. Because there are some residents that may not even realize they're part of a special district. And they may say, well, I live in Cornwall, or I live in Blooming Grove, or I'm by the lake, but they may not have the clear understanding that this is actually a district, it's a special tax situation. Also, there will be a board vote later tonight, just to approve funds for potential 3 years for GEI, who has served as our lake management service. And, Alejandro Reyes was here last June, gave a really great, that's why I was asking you last night, exactly when it was. He gave a great presentation, the findings that we had when we did sampling in 2023 and 24, and we're about to get that going again. On to, anybody have any comments? Like delve into deeper.
Yeah, we'll just,
waters?
we'll post the, if we're lucky and fortunate enough to get up those new kiosks that we would like to do, and then we'll be able to update any of the various signage around the district to reserves that may be a little bit outdated or may not reflect the newest policies. So another good reason to get those things up if we were able to get them done.
Yeah, it's probably another place to even post want ads and things for the community, and so it's been, all these things have been discussed over the past year, and they're things that we're trying to get done for you. Bit of safety, once again, we always mention this, please call 911 if it's an emergency. Do not call the police department, because let 911 suss it out, because it may require fire department as well on top of the police department, and things will go a lot smoother and quicker if you call 911 dispatch. The security gates have arrived. We've been discussing about that. The gates will be installed by summertime at reserves 2, 4, and 8. It's also been mentioned that they're not there to just be closed all the time. We're a volunteer service. We're not looking to create a lot of work for ourselves unless we get a task force where people are going to open and close them at the proper times. But basically during the high seasons, when college is home and high school is home, we get a lot more use at night, in the wee hours. And then when we go out there in the morning and there's some vandalism and there's broken bottles and things like that. Once again, this has been discussed over several meetings, and as long as I know, I've been chair on the board, it's been a recurring thing, and it's always that 1% ruining it for the 99%. So we want the ability to at least close the reserves with something more substantial than some cones and a cable. And these are quite inexpensive. We purchased 5 of them and taken delivery of them, and you'll start to see them go up. And they may be closed on, let's say, after dark at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, and they'll reopen for the fishermen on Sunday. Because we know we don't want to get into that situation where it's locked and the fishermen can't get in on a Sunday morning. So just don't fret if you start seeing gates. It doesn't mean that the reserves are closed. It's basically for 2 and 8, which are the large loitering areas that we've had vandalism, and also the police departments have been quite supportive of this move, because they can then know when it's definitely closed and who they need to summons if they're in there. Okay, dam update, there's nothing to report. Swim beach update, getting the beach ready has begun, with the goal to open potentially. Now I say it potentially, there's a lot of things that still have to be done. Memorial Day weekend, and I'll get to the reasons why there's a lot of hurdles yet. The ultimate goal would be to just maybe open up on Saturday, Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, and then open yet again the following weekend, not being full-time until school is out. So we try to do weekends through June, but there's still some things we have to do to get the permits. The ropes are about to go out. We're replacing all the buoys. We have taken delivery of the buoys. So ropes and buoys will be showing up soon. The lake ice played with some of our buoys. We even had a resident, I'm standing actually on the beach the other day, and a boat pulled up and brought one of ours back. I forgot to tell you guys that. So it drifted way down yonder, and somebody picked it up and brought it back for us, which is nice. So anyway, several volunteer opportunities will be made available. Hey, Mr. Boyle, how are you? 10 cubic yards of sand have been ordered and will be added to the beach when available. Outdoor station for a foot wash was purchased last summer. That's going to be going in for this summer's use and enjoyment, and to keep the sand out of your cars and out of the community building. And the bathrooms, keep the bathrooms tidy. A large outdoor clock has also been purchased, and that was on a request of our lifeguards, just wanting to know the time, and a lot of people said, hey. They're like, what time is it? I'm at the beach, I don't want my cell phone, I wanna be able to look back and see an analog clock, so. We abided, and there's an analog clock here now. Split rail fencing will be replacing some of the beachfront. So for many years, we've had kind of a plastic, leaf catching fence. And we're just trying to go with something a little bit more attractive, a little bit more sightly. We'll still have that fence over the sand, but the other areas are gonna start getting something a little bit more, pretty, we'll say. All right, reserve properties. So reserve properties are Orange County property, under the 3 towns, which make the Beaver Dam Lake District. And you guys can jump in anytime here. So, non-residents are not permitted. Please report all trespassers and vandalism to the appropriate local police departments. So these are the business numbers, 534-8100 for Cornwall Police Department and 565-7000 for New Windsor Police Department. And that would be just to, call for a non-emergency. Once again, emergencies are what everyone. 911.
Yeah, of course, like, as you're mentioning. We're a volunteer board, we love the community that we live in, which is why we're involved in this capacity. But as a resident, it's okay for you to approach people that you feel may be trespassing. It's okay for you to say, I know people aren't looking for conflicts, and we're not looking for any explosive dialogue or situations that could escalate. But the issue is that if you see something, and you always turn a blind eye to it, then unfortunately it just becomes regular occurrence. Why am I saying this? If you're driving past the reserve and you see there's 7 cars there and you just feel like, hey, I can really tell that these folks maybe don't live in the community, I've never seen them before. It's okay to say something. If you say something and you don't want to get in a conflict, that's understandable, but if you mention it, at least they know that there's eyes out there. And that it is a private lake residence, so if you see something, say something, and again, just mentioning that and to get that out there as we approach our very busy seasons.
Thank you for that, Mr. Weinberg. You also mentioned that we always say that, like, your guests are welcome. Guests are certainly welcome, but they have to be accompanied, no matter what the function is. So it's with this building, it's with. You go fishing, please don't lend someone your boat that's from New Jersey, not picking on New Jersey, but, you need to be with them. And there has been something mentioned about the amount of fishing line that has been found already this fishing season, and it's bothersome that you can't just re-spool your line in the boat and then bring it home or throw it in the trash can. Instead, it goes in the lake and it's a problem for the wildlife and the fish, or it's on the shoreline and it's caught in the mowers. And that was from our landscaper. Our landscaper actually mentioned that he's been finding fishing line, fresh fishing line, so please. Gas car motors, of course, not permitted. This is probably gonna be the last time when we say this stuff. It seems we've been going heavy with the regulations the last couple of meetings, but there are a lot of new residents, so that's kind of the thought process. All anglers 16 and under must possess a valid New York State fishing license. There's no such thing as fishing in a private lake in New York State. You need a license no matter where you are. We were talking about the gates. All reserves are closed for use 1 hour after sunset officially. It does not mean someone's gonna come and close the gate. Most likely, if it's a high traffic night, it's a Saturday night, and maybe there's something the next day that needs to be open for, like a drill for the fire department, which I was gonna ask Mr. Boyle soon, if he knows of any drills coming up, but that might be a good reason to close the reserve that night. We have a community yard sale coming up.
Yeah.
And it had been mentioned several times. I remember Walter mentioning this in the past, that when you have a community yard sale and you're inviting everybody to come, and then they come and they see this great community and all the cars are down shore, then they go into Reserve 2 and, oh, what is this? And there'll be cars everywhere in Reserve 2. It might make sense to close the reserve. It has been done before, because people are there for the sale, not to recreate, and that's when we get the most vandalism, and it's just from experience. It's not something we're worried about, it's just something that we have experienced before. All right, so 2025, we're gonna move on to, basic improvements. We've mentioned some of the things that the beach is going to receive. Go ahead.
Placement of the gate on 2 because of the sewer, is it gonna be more recessed back onto the thing?
I'll take a look at it. I think what possibly, because we're also looking to repave the aprons, which is gonna be mentioned later. And it kind of depends on maybe where the aprons go, and I don't know. And do you recall how far the sewer's in?
It's pretty far in.
Oh, like it's on the gravel,
Yeah.
like it's storing, it's like in the road, it's out of the apron.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or at least enough for like. Full line, maybe they need a key.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, all that'll be looked at. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't foresee them going that often, especially on like
Yeah.
weekends, but it
That's
could
it.
be a
So,
possibility.
yeah, rather than having a gate closer to the road, you're saying have it recessed in, so you have enough. Mr. Boyle, thank you. So we had mentioned, so Sunday, June 1st at 9 AM and June 17th at 6:30, I'm assuming PM, will be, Southburn Mills Fire Department, water drills. Yeah, so, well, water rescue drills. And, so the board usually, warns everybody about that, so you don't take alarm when you see all the fire trucks at, either 2 or 8 or driving around. And, word travels quick, so that's June 1st at 9 AM on a Sunday, and then June 17th at 6:30 PM, so the fire department. Thank you. So we're gonna get a plan, we've had some planned estimates, we're trying to plan for renovations to this building. We mentioned in prior meetings about how, this building is quite cold in the winter. This place, there's a former outdoor pavilion and it's on a concrete slab. And the windows are not so good. The windowsills are rotting. We've had, I know Ryan Construction was here, checked out some of the windows. Yeah, CPG from Newburgh was here, and then I can't remember the third one. We have full write-ups, so we've talked to General Services and talked to the DPW and the commissioner. And they're behind us, basically writing up anything that the building needs to put together a bid process to get what we need. New siding and updates to the building. There's ventilation that's there's excessive ventilation at one end of the building. And it's freezing, and then there's not enough on the other end of the building. There's only one gable, there's no ridge at the top. The soffits are quite wide open, so this building breathes almost too much. And then when it's humid in the summer, there's cracking around it. So anyway, this building needs some love, and we're gonna look into fixing it up. So also we've mentioned paving, the board will discuss further at a future meeting, no reason to kind of get into it tonight, I feel. Because there's no county contract for non-highway paving in existence. But through a communication just 2 nights ago, actually with the deputy commissioner. Because of our need and maybe some other places in the county, because the county oversees lots of properties. They may actually pursue a bid for non-highway paving, and then we can get on that and get our, probably about 5,000 to 7,000 square feet of paving. So I'm not gonna quote what I think that is, but under $10,000, maybe not, I don't know. But, and some seal coating, we definitely need a parking lot here at Reserve 4 done. Boat racks will continue to be built. To be honest, that was something that I was kind of doing. I certainly will take help. I'm a teacher, I'm off in the summer, that's when I plan to build a lot of them. Boats will no longer be allowed to be stored on the ground at Reserve 3. Reserve 3 has been a problem for a while, lots and lots of vessels on the ground, there's groundhog holes underneath, there's snakes, the landscapers have had trouble even when it was, Rossini landscaping, now it's nano landscaping. There's been a benefit to raising the boats and getting them off the ground and being able to remove the leaves. And one of the things we want to do at number 3 is take everything from the east side of the reserve and rack them all on the west side of the reserve on new racks, and then we can fix the land and fill it in and make it more green and lush and
Prevent
erosion. Yeah, there's probably, and I think we even talked once about putting a concrete pad at the bottom for picnic table. because that gets a lot of washout from Maple Avenue, and that culvert, gets inundated, or that, drainage pipe gets inundated, sometimes the water doesn't necessarily go into the pipe on heavy rains, it'll run down the reserve and just blows the reserve apart. There's nothing really level anymore, or on a constant grade anymore, it's just really beaten up. So it'd be nice to help that one out. Yeah, so boats eventually at some point, once there's enough racks, there'll be no more ground storage at Reserve 3. All the other reserves, there should be no boats ever on the grass. The mowers need to mow, weed whackers need to do their thing, and only rack storage will be permitted, and that is currently in the resident permit program. Okay, official board communication. So what that means is emails out to the community. By the way, please, join the mailing list. If you have family members that live here or other people that are not getting their news through the BDL email, please tell them, bdlboard@gmail.com. You mentioned that already. All right. May 4th, May happenings. Larry, go for it.
Sure, so as Chris mentioned, we do use social media, but it's not part of the Beaver Dam Lake Board. So there is a residents page on social media on Facebook. And a lot of information does go out there. The reason that I'm mentioning that is the bdlboard@gmail.com. That's our official communication. And on occasion, we will use that vehicle to cast out the widest net that we possibly can to the entire community. So not everybody is on Facebook. But that doesn't mean that every piece of information that comes through the BDL board Gmail through your email, not every bit of that is 100% sponsored by the board. So on occasion, you might get something about a comedy show, or you might get something about other happenings in the event. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're sponsored or run by the board, but we do facilitate a lot of things by being here to gain access, allow people access to the building. So, again, we did a vehicle permit event today for our new permit program for cars and for water vessels. We are doing these obviously as we volunteer. There's a more strenuous, difficult process of having to print up documents, mail them in, spend money on postage, wait to get them back. Or we've been doing about 2 a month right now of in-person events with Fred, thank you, and Molly has also been involved, Fred's wife. We did have a community volunteer, Diane Metzgow, come down to give us a hand. We had a great event this afternoon from 5 p.m. till 6:30. We easily gave out 100 new tags, which is great, probably 40 applicants. So we're gonna continue with that. We're gonna have one of those on Saturday, May 24th. This time it's going to be an AM session from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That will be at 557 Shore Drive in the building. Please take a look at your documents and things. Bring necessary documentation if you want to get this done. We want to make it as easy as possible for everybody to be in compliance and to avoid people getting tickets. I know a few people who are community residents who actually got tickets recently, and they say, hey, it's my own fault, I didn't follow through. So I was like, it is what it is. So for me, again, I live on lakefront. I don't need the permits for certain, like my vehicles, but I do to follow through on the process so that I'm in compliance should I come down here and be part of a meeting, whatever. So be in the know and follow through. Chrissy Wilger has agreed to run the community yard sale. The community yard sale, again, is not a event that's sponsored by the board, nor does anybody on the board advocate whether we have one or we don't. But the community reaches out on a regular basis to numerous people on the board regarding these events because they think they're part of the board, and doesn't bother me to be contacted. I enjoy it. But the point is that it is not facilitated by the board, but a board member did volunteer to run the community yard sale. That is this Saturday on the 17th. It runs from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's rain or shine.
8 or 9.
It's 8 o'clock. So that was what was out on the flyer, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
People start driving around at 6 a.m. anyway.
Yeah.
They'll be here early.
Yeah, so Chrissy has gone out of her way to print up maps and things. She's been getting people to register. I don't have an exact count, but I believe we're at about 25 or so residents who will be participating in that. And Chrissy has also gone and put out some communication through various publications as far as I know. So get the word out, come see your neighbors if you want to go and check out whatever beautiful wares they might have, or you want to just pop a table out and people drive by and see you're out a part of the yard sale, you don't have to be officially on the map. So that's just going to be a 1-day event. We have a Beaver Dam Lake 1-year anniversary comedy show. We do have a local resident who is a comedian, and he does have access to professional comedians who are willing to volunteer their time to come up and help us with a free community event. We do not charge any money for the event. Donations are suggested if you would like to take care of the comics who drive an hour or 2 hours to come here to entertain us for free. It is not required. It's only open to residents and escorted guests. And I'll warn you in advance, it's not really kid friendly.
It's not a family event.
Yeah, it was kid friendly to start, but it's really hard to get great comedians to come in and scrub their act out to be like a G movie. So we appreciate if you be smart and don't bring your 4-year-old down to the event. So that is going to be coming up very, very quickly. It's on Friday night. Unfortunately, I won't be here for that, and I go to every one of them. I'd love to see it, but I'm going to miss out on that. So we do have many other pots that we're stirring right now for community events. Chris?
No, I was gonna say, just to kind of cap events, like, just to make sure, like, technically, no events are actually sponsored by the board. The idea of having a community, district is that everything is open to the residents and their guests, and they need to originate from the residents. And so the board is here to facilitate. We'll do whatever we can to help, make sure the lights are on and things like that. But there is a process to have an event. So just wanted to say that, and I will be here. I'm actually very excited to see it. I've just not been able to come to any of the other comedy shows before, so.
Yeah, so if you wanted to run an event, you can certainly toss it on the email, or have somebody who's interested, I want to do clam bakes, come up with an idea, email it to the board. We'll see if we can work with you to make that happen. If we're following all the rules and regulations, you want to step to the plate, get people involved, we're happy to be part of that. So you do need to fill out a form in advance. It's kind of like a building use form so that we can all get together and vote, because we are responsible for what happens in the building. And we can't have Magic Mike's fun fest going on here in the building. So we just have to be cautious about what we do. So that's the law.
Thank you, Larry. All right, on the same day, another email went out entitled Trees for Tribs. If Jason and or Larry want to kind of discuss about Nicefola and.
Yes, it's a New York DEC program that our lake manager, AJ, had suggested to us that we apply. I've been in communication with them, and they say that each of the reserves would have to be their own application, which.
And we have months and months before they would even do this, right? So we have
Yeah.
time to figure it out.
They have 2 application periods. It's not just a one and done year thing. So there's one in March and there's another one in August. So we're
Okay.
gonna shoot for the one in August. That planting would be in September and October. We get it in March, then it'd be in April or May.
And what's the thought behind doing this?
So it's to prevent shore erosion and be beneficial plants to the lake.
Yes, I mean, we attended the New York State Federation of Lakes. If you ever hear Nicefola, Jason and I went up to Lake George, stayed for the 2-day event up there. It's full of a lot of experts and a lake federation of compliant, people who are really invested in protecting the waters of New York State. Great event. Certainly a lot of experts were there. As we mentioned, GEI was there as an expert. We use them as our lake management services. So we do have the best of the best here working with us. So we did spend a couple of days. We got to converse with some experts in the field, and that's where we come back with a few of these really nice surprise things that we weren't really aware of.
We have about 10 people that have volunteered for the potential project. And with even the Boy Scouts, someone's reaching out to the Boy Scouts to be involved, and even the Salt Springs Fire Department, potentially we
Sure.
could get some volunteers from them, so we could have a decent amount of people helping.
Good stuff.
And if we don't even get selected, the DEC says they're still willing to work with us to help pick out suitable plants for our own needs.
It's great. It's great. Support it. All right, 2 days later, on the 6th of May, another email went out called the BDL RPP. It's the Resident Permit Program. It's the aforementioned, the policy that we've just done this 1.5 year process or more where signs went out in 2020, end of 23 into 24, stating that in 2025 that the storage policies, the boat policies and registration policies were going to change. We finally now gotten to that. We have new stickers. We're here. We're rolling. So the last phase is to phase out the orange and bring in the blue and kind of establish some of the changes for the lake. All boats on the waters of BDL must possess the new blue and white sticker by July 1st. That is the goal. That is the goal. And we've been doing quite well getting people registered. As you may know, the stickers originally expired in 2020. There's no more dates on them. And it kind of, the point was moot. If you were registered and a resident, if it's expired, it was just, it was a lot. It was a lot to stay. I mean, you could attest.
You may want to mention that the new stickers will not expire.
Yeah, they will not. Yeah, that's it. That's it. They will not expire. But if you lose it, you have to get a new sticker. There is a charge fee that was suggested by the county for the placards. They're quite popular, but they can be lost. So it's fair warning. Fair warning. There's no fee for the sticker. And there's no fee for your first time getting the placard, but if you do lose it, there is a $25 loss fee. Okay, so next, moving on the 13th, there was an email that went out, DPW reply, so there was a board communication with the DPW just inquiring about, we've spoken briefly about this, about paving the entrances. We had mentioned there's no contract for paving yet. Basically, let's see, where are we? Yes, and then I had asked back, does that mean we need to bid process through general services? If so, how do we get that started? Deputy Commissioner Ryan McGuire responded, we may still put in a bid for non-highway paving. Could you please describe roughly how the linear area, so they were just trying to get an idea of ballpark of how much paving we're talking about. We're not talking about redoing parking lots, we're just talking about doing aprons. Because 8 is terrible, if you have a low vehicle, you're getting to the point where you're gonna bottom out. 2 has some pretty bad potholes and it would just be nice to freshen those up. All right, DPW communications, and when we say DPW communications, this could be a text message from the commissioner, it could be that. So Commissioner Denega agreed to have any chain link fence sections of the BDL does not want or need to be taken to the Orange County transfer station. Anybody that's driven past the community building last couple of days, it was a large cache of, I don't even know, maybe 1,000 feet of chain link fence, and they're all county property taken down from various places all along the lake in the last 20 years. We are going to retain some of the good sections, the black ones that are coated in vinyl. I think it would make sense to replace the beaten up ones that are up at the curb right now with those. So, I told Ryan, I said, give us 2 weeks, we're gonna select what we need, and then if nobody else takes them away, go for it, take them away. DPW will come and take them away. But they were piled behind the building for a very long time, gathering leaves, gathering animals, snakes, rodents, the whole thing. So it needed to go, it just needed to go, it was unsightly and it was time. All right, DPW reached out for discussion about the 3-year contract, which was actually quite encouraging, considering we've been discussing this for years. It was one of the reasons why I was interested in joining the board 3 years ago. So to see that our testing had taken place for a year and then sort of faltered, and there were reasons that were out of our control for that, meaning that we have a break in the data collection, but we're about to restart it. We had a piece of equipment that arrived 2.5 months late last year. So all that is lined up, and we have been pretty much asking the county to give us not a 1-year contract, but a multi-year contract. And the basic reason is to be able to get in a position to receive awards from DEC grant. And I'll get to that, in a little bit. So the 3-year contract from GEI to continue testing tributary flow rates, soil samples with the goal of obtaining large New York State DEC grants for lake health remediation. And currently, we're asking for 3 years at $15,000 a year. The last time we did that, we budgeted $15,000 and spent 12,000, say 400 or almost 12,500. So that brings us now to lake health treatment. James Gorman, Pond Lake Connection, stated that he would come out as soon as the DEC waiting period was over. Jason and I were kind of talking about this beforehand. So New York State on January 1st of this year changed some of the classifications for wetlands. Basically, all water bodies are going to be considered wetlands now. The areas pre and post, if they flow in. So anything that was mapped before that was called a wetland is obviously still a wetland, but now there'll be an expansion of the size of what a wetland is considered. And basically, because we put in permits to treat the lake, there is now a 30-day comment period on the public website of the DEC. And our permits were in months ago, but the DEC is behind and the waiting period is technically over, but they still haven't given James the green light and the wetland permit because we never needed a wetland permit before. Now we need a wetland permit. So
Another thing.
So we're at a moment right now where the lake is at 70 degrees to 75 degrees. We are at critical level where we're gonna start seeing on a real good 80-degree day or 2 days straight, we're probably gonna start seeing those blooms again. And that's something expected. It's going to happen. It's not a surprise when it happens. But the point is that we wanted to have been treated by now. So James just mentioned to me yesterday that we're probably a week to 2 weeks away. He hopes to be able to treat because it's been cloudy, because it's been a little cooler again-ish at night. We haven't seen mass algae production, at least HABs. There's a lot of fibers going on. There's a lot of curly pondweed happening. There's a lot of Eurasian milfoil happening. And that happens every year, but last year we had knocked it down so severely, and then we caught the benefit of drought. Didn't bring in the nutrients, so we had an amazing beach season because of it. So we don't know what's gonna happen yet, but the idea of opening up the beach Memorial Day really hinges on this. So if we don't get the wetland permit and we can't treat, most likely the lake is gonna spin out of control. And that's something that, you know, that's why we're here. And if people ever want to know why the board's here, this is one of the reasons why we're here. Because if we weren't, we know it would be pea soup out there and nobody could use the lake. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent that, but we'll keep you abreast of the situation and we'll certainly send out a district email once that permit has been obtained and James can treat because he's ready to go. He has the chemicals, he's ready to go, but I'm not gonna read the literature on the New York State DEC regulations, but I kind of just gave it in a nutshell, I think. Let's see, lake testing. So we mentioned this before, but I'm gonna approach it from the CSLAP portion of lake testing. That's a regular expected thing that we do every year. And Jason and Fred, if you'd just like to speak about when CSLAP's gonna get going and the reports from last year and all that good stuff.
Well, the sampling containers are due probably the end of May, beginning of June.
Oh, to be sent out?
To be sent to us.
To you, okay.
To us at the 557. The report was supposed to be, have you seen the report? I haven't seen it yet.
The report has been created. It is
Yes.
in the DEC's index, but is not posted properly onto the site, so.
The 2024 or
24 report.
Right, I saw a preliminary that was pointed out a couple of months ago. And cannot be honest with you, there's nothing new in it. We are still completely as a eutrophic lake where it's basically considerably prone to algae. There's an oxygen deprivation at the lower levels. And,
The lake doesn't turn,
yeah,
it doesn't cycle.
it is a cycle, and, at this point, the complete report will be hopefully available. But, to be honest with you, I don't expect any surprises on it.
Which could be good. At least it's not getting worse.
Good and bad. I mean, we haven't gotten any worse, but we haven't gotten.
Right.
considerably
But you need
better.
these trends to be able to support your
Right.
DEC grants and
You're exactly right, exactly
any other
right.
corrective measures.
The bottom line to this whole thing is that we are a stream-fed lake, not a spring-fed lake.
Right.
So we were prone to not only the nutrients that were here when it was farmland, but anything that comes in from the streams elsewhere. That's why we are.
Huge developed watershed.
Right.
This watershed is huge.
It is a huge watershed, all the way from Stewart Airport on
Yeah,
down.
Orange Lake,
Yeah.
it's all connected, yeah.
So
So,
we're doing the best we can.
so that brings us to what I mentioned before, AJ Reyes, our current lake manager, his plan currently, because we still have him on retainer. We still have him on retainer, even though the new contract hasn't started, and AJ is just constant. He's really a nice guy, he's great. He had a great presentation last June, and he gave a lot of information, so I don't think I finished my thought earlier, but if you ever wanna see that, it's the June 2024 meeting on YouTube, you can check that
I'll
out.
try to link it to this video,
Oh, which video?
to this video
Oh, so it'll be,
at the end
got
card.
it, that's smart. Okay, so Jason's gonna add a link to this video when we post it. Basically, he wants to help design a dissolved oxygen profile testing schedule for the lake for the spring, summer 2025. For those following this last year, the new extended cable dissolved oxygen meter was not delivered until August of 2024, keeping us from any new data points that year. Our ultimate goal for a 3-year contract is to compile enough sampled evidence to meet the criteria for application for various substantially large DEC grants for Beaver Dam Lake. Basically, the big why is to target any external sources of pollution. And we've begun doing that. They've been chronicled in meetings, so please go back and check out YouTube if you have any questions about it. We have data and places, some hot points on the map where we know things are flowing in. So where some may say the rain is great, the rain is flushing the lake. Yeah, up to a certain amount. But if we get an abundance of water, once you usually get about more than an inch of rain or even less, we start catching affluent from Brittany Terrace. We start getting things from Stewart. We get things from the south at the Equestrian Center on 94. They come back to our lake and they spike us. And what we're trying to do is find a method to combat it. And it's gonna take a few years of collecting the data to get the nutrient budget. But that is the plan. So that is the big why. So if anybody wants to know why we're spending this money, that's why we're spending this money, because we want to be able to get awards of $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. There are grants out there that go unused every year because either no one's applying for them or they didn't meet the criteria. We happen to be on a DEC it's called a 303D list. And basically what it is, it identifies water bodies impaired by pollutants, including phosphorus. And that is why we're on the list for phosphorus. Over 100 water bodies in the state are impaired by high phosphorus levels, impacting drinking water, fisheries, and recreation. The 303D list is required by federal law through the Clean Water Act. So every state has to have this 303D list, and Beaver Dam Lake is on it. So you can go to the DEC website and look it up, and we are on it forever until the lake doesn't exist. It's going to be on there. So that being said, oh, and the date is actually June 12th of 2024. That's where that video is housed for last year. So I just want to make a motion, a quick board vote, motion to approve a $15,000 a year budget for a subsequent 3 years, 2025 this year, 2026 and 2027 to pay for continued lake management services through GEI Incorporated.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion has been adopted. Okay, so now we can tell DPW and they can move forward with the contract. Thank you very much. All right, Fred, DEC grant invasive species. Now, before I ask Fred to do this, anybody that knows, so Mr. Woodman has been on this, like, as he said, a dog with a bone for the last, well, I mean,
Year
we'll
and a
say,
half.
well,
Year.
yeah, I mean, explicitly, and chasing down the people that need to be chased down to keep this going. This is a grant that was applied for about 8 years ago.
2017.
17. So, and because the lake closed basically for 2 years, it just went furloughed and, we were able to revive it and extend it. And what it is we put together, Fred's been doing this, and putting together all the receipts for invasive species, expenditures, whether it's treatments, whether it's, consulting, whether it's equipment, anything that is encompassed by that term, we get a 52%
50%.
or whatever it is, yeah,
50%.
award back.
Yeah.
We're at this moment where we have heard, go ahead, sorry.
Well, finally, for various reasons, once I contacted the region commissioner in New Paltz, all of a sudden we heard back that because of a system change, that they finally put in our request for payment, and it comes out to about $89,000. That's the latest figure. I'm still waiting to hear back from the powers that be. But I've been promised that it should be cleared within a week to two. Now, that was a week ago. And I'm gonna wait one more week before I contact people again to find out what's gonna happen with that. Where is that money? And then I'm assuming it's gonna, well, I've been told the check is gonna be made out to Orange County. Now, I'm assuming that there's going to be going into our surplus budget. And Chris has been trying to figure out what we can do with the surplus budget. We had a lot of things going on around here that we could use that money for, including the building that we're sitting in right now. But again, I have been promised that within a week or two, it should be cleared for payment. And Chris and I and the rest of the board will continue breathing once that check is issued. Because a lot of angst has gone into this project. So that's where it stands right now.
Thank you, Fred. And once again, are there any questions? Did I see something on the?
Some Zoom users that haven't updated their name. Last week, we had over 10 inches of rain.
Rather, okay, yeah, all right. All right,
Yeah, okay.
thanks for that comment. All right, BDL Board 2026 budget discussion. Basically open to the board, you know, we have discussions of always what we want to do in the future. Kind of just want to give a couple minutes for board members to just voice things that you think that we need and should do and add to the budget that may not be in the budget before we have the official budget meeting. The official budget meeting is nothing scheduled, but it's something that is required. We have to do before the budget is due. And that should be sometime no later than, I mean, what's the max we're talking? Maybe 3 more weeks, right? Maybe 1 month, maybe last year we were due June
12th.
June 12th. They could call it in June 1st, they could call it in June 10th, so it could be later. So we're gonna be prepared to have a budget meeting, a public budget meeting, discussing every little nuance that's in the budget. But tonight, is there anything that you all are thinking about that we need to do that we haven't mentioned? You think that things that.
Well, one thing that's been asked of me, last year was the boat entry area on Reserve 8. We've talked about.
Into the lake.
This is going into the lake.
So like the launch.
The launch
Okay.
area, yes, thank you.
Glad you mentioned it.
I was told, one time when we were thinking about paving, but then we were told it's impractical. So not having the opportunity to use that launch area, I'm open for any kind of talk about people who have used it. Are we in need of improving that launch area?
Considering Boat trailer gets stuck there,
Yeah,
not even a couple weeks ago.
yeah, and you know, and this has been discussed, I know, by other chairs and other board members before, that it's so. Yes, we can't wind back the clock and say, when the lake was drained, we could have put in a concrete ramp and such,
Coulda, woulda,
you know,
shoulda.
coulda, woulda, shoulda. And to get that done, you can't even imagine what it takes to get that done, let alone the permit to disturb the lake bottom, that's number one. So anybody that built a dock on this lake that may or may not be properly permitted, you understand that, because a lot of docks went up anyway. But the board is not gonna sanction just putting blacktop, or not blacktop, but concrete. Or a ramp, where you need engineer plans and such, so the method for many decades has been 3/4 inch and 1 inch stone, right?
Some guide
Poured in.
item four.
Yeah, and it's four-wheel drive, have four-wheel drive and take it easy. So, outside of some people saying, I have no problem, and then some people saying they've gotten stuck. It's for different
Because
reasons.
that spot is mucky.
Oh, could it be moved? While a lake is present without doing a drawdown? But-
Scout it out in December for the next drawdown.
So we'll, does anybody else have anything to say about the boat launch? I wanna add. Do you launch, or do you have somebody do it?
I take it in out once a year, so
Do you have problems?
I haven't had a problem yet.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there was a somebody a month ago that had an issue, but it was a hitch issue. And then,
It came off the.
and hitch came off and the trailer went in the lake.
That has nothing to do
Has nothing to do with the ramp, you know?
Yeah,
So, it might be the tow vehicle that matters, I
Definitely recommend forward.
yeah, you wouldn't wanna do it with anything else, but, so I think that's something, but we can agree to just.
all right, just
we'll
want
look
to
at
bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we can bring back to the commissioner. Go ahead, we have,
Well,
go
I was just,
ahead, state your name, please.
my name is Doug,
Doug.
and, I know when I had muddy situations in the past, the item is too small, it sinks into the mud.
Okay,
So there's bigger stone that you can get it in the Callahan, and you put that down, and then if you wanna put item over that because it's too rough for somebody's tires, then you put it over, but the big stones, it tends to keep a base in the.
it's like a crushed shale, like a larger 1 inch or.
Yeah, they have all kinds over there, and you just pick out some of the 3 inch or, 5 inch.
Oh, so real big.
Yeah, and you put that down and then put
It's a
that
big
over, and the big stone will keep.
Does
it
what's
sinking.
there now have to be removed?
No,
Just
Not
pound
drop
into the
it off.
mud. So a larger aggregate, larger size aggregate.
Yeah. and it
Stone.
goes- Yeah, so
That's
it
a good-
doesn't sink so much,
I'm glad we asked.
Try to compact it during a drawdown.
Yeah.
but you put the smaller stone on top of the bigger stuff, and it fills in nice.
Alright, thank you so much for that.
That's good.
That's something
I
that,
have one other thing I was wondering about, you talk about oxygen deprivation in the water.
yes,
I've seen these in other places where they have aerators,
yeah,
and they just stick an aerator out there in the middle,
Yeah.
solar powered or whatever.
yeah,
I don't know how effective they are.
They're very localized. They work
It's very
that
localized.
spot.
yeah, that's,
That
yeah.
20-foot area is beautiful.
It oxygenates that spot.
Yeah,
We have looked into it before,
There's
and for it to be effective for a lake this size, you need numerous
Yeah.
aerators.
into the millions of dollars.
No.
Cause the Solar B was a thing that, Tom Coral, former board member and current resident. He was looking into this, and there was these floating units that power themselves with an impeller, and they churn the water and all that, and they thought that we would need.
Pump houses with bubblers, there's huge systems.
Yeah, there's things to be done, but the nature of this lake being
Millions of dollars.
shallow is our biggest enemy. The lake being shallow, and when we say shallow, even under 30 feet is considered.
Yeah,
Shallow.
we are about 26, 27 feet max.
Yeah, but at 15% of the lake.
Right.
The mean is, it's like 60% of the lake is
Thank you,
under
Susan.
5 feet or something, like
Yeah.
the middle is quite, the bathymetry is on the website, you can check it out. We have deeper channels, but most of it plateaus back out. So that our lake heats up, it heats up quick. It was April and it was already at 70 degrees by my house, and I'm in the north section. So, it's
It's dark and it's shallow.
there's things working against us, so, but. Thank you for your comments and thank you for the stone point. That's great.
That's good to know.
Okay, anything else besides ramp? We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. Sometimes I think we're doing a lot.
Already brought up
Too
in
much.
spring.
You know, one thing I'm curious about, and that's about 2 or 3 years ago. We were involved with a microscope program,
Oh, yeah.
and I think we still have the microscope.
We do.
They never asked for it back, right?
They've never asked for it back, and I assume we're not paying anything for it at this
No,
point.
the app for it has been developed. It is able to identify different kinds of algae.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be able to use it for like, what we have in bloom here, because you can't tell if it's actually producing the
Cyanotoxin.
So whatever,
cyanotoxin.
so what, right, so what Jason's
You
referring
can know
to,
if there's the bacteria
Yeah.
that can make it, but
Right.
not if it exists, because
Right.
the bacteria that makes it doesn't always produce it.
so for
Right.
keeping the beach open
Right.
purposes, the idea of having a microscope that we can like, in real time that day, look at the water, not
That
need to
was
send
the
it out.
original purpose of the microscope.
Yes.
They were trying to develop a software package that would be DEC or DOH agreeable, that we could say for ourselves, yes or no.
That they would accept, and we didn't
That
have
they
to
would
still go through
accept.
the
But
rigmarole.
That's never happened.
Yeah, because we have to go through
But
a,
exactly what Jason said.
yeah, we have to go through
I
a
don't know
30.
if submitting that photo information along with the sample would speed up the process, and we might be able to shave a day off of it if the beach
Yeah.
closes. That I don't know yet.
Right, and that's something that could be looked at, but it's.
The app is $100 a year.
Mhm. Oh, does anybody want to look into?
No,
it?
I was just curious.
No, I mean, I think it's something worth it. We
If
do.
we
all-
can save the time, yeah, other than that, it's kind of just a fun.
It was a
tool.
digital readout too, right? It was electronic. You put it on a screen.
Yeah,
There's no,
Yeah, you scan it through your phone and the
Yeah.
app.
so you look at the results on a screen, so it's
Mhm.
not like you're not looking, you don't have to look through the binocular.
No, you aren't looking through the microscope,
Yeah.
the computer is looking
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
It was
That's
like
all I
a
have.
95% accuracy
Mm.
from what they were showing
Okay.
at the presentation.
It would be wonderful someday, but yeah, but we have to go through 36 to 72 hour process once we're shut the beach, and that's why it's like,
right.
it's a big undertaking, so if
We
the
were
beach were to
very
close on a
fortunate,
Monday,
actually.
we're not gonna reopen until a Thursday.
Yeah,
And it would be nice to be able to shave that time down, as we said.
If we have a contact, maybe we can ask them about that, if we can help them speed up the results, because if they know that, oh, there's no cyanobacteria in there, then there's no cyanoproducing bacteria, then there's no cyanobacteria.
And then there's no reason to close the
There's no
beach.
Reason to close the beach.
Right.
But if there is, then there's the potential of that.
Okay, so with that, I know we had mentioned we already talked about the building, the aging building, paving the areas at the entrances.
Resealing,
Yep, resealing, rain gardens.
rain gardens.
Had been talked about. Jason just done a presentation that you can find, is that also on the same? YouTube page, is that?
That didn't get recorded,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, I thought they got recorded.
it was, and then it didn't go record fully through it.
Jason did a presentation 2.5, 3 years ago at this point, 2 years ago at least. And it was wonderful. It was about how you can make your own rain garden if you had a flow through area or going through your property, like you could do
Yeah.
now.
Run,
What
do
plants?
runoff from your roof
Yeah. To filter out
or a wet spot.
metals and things that we don't want going in the lake.
Yeah, get it into the groundwater before it goes into surface water into the lake, carrying all excess nutrients, dog poop and oil,
Mhm.
something we're fighting to keep out.
So anyone online have anything? This is one of the few times we're opening it up because we're gonna get into the 26 budget in the next, like I said, next couple weeks. So anyway, you can always email the board. You can always email the board. Okay, with that, community events, I think we kind of talked about already. Is there anything else we need to say about community events tonight? What's coming up?
Some cleanup events, we'd like to.
Yeah, we have
we'd like to
dates
get the
on it, yeah.
beach cleaned up before, the season gets started, so within a few weeks. We'll hopefully get a handful of our volunteer residents to come out, we'll scrap out the, little weeds that have been growing and. We'll get them to the curb and get them out of here. Anybody, interested in doing a cleanup around the, surface roads, through the community. We did, have a Cub Scout Earth Day event.
I wanted to go to that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was very, based upon the Cub Scouts meeting time. It was in the evening, which didn't leave us a lot of extra time to really canvass the entire lake. So there's a lot of areas that really could use a trash pick. I've had a few residents reach out to me and say they wanted to do it. But I need somebody to be the organizer. I can't be organizing all of these events, and I'm not gonna be the one Beaver Dam Lake guy with the garbage pail who's gonna go and do 4 miles of roads. I mean, I've got the desire to do it, but I'm just not, I can't do it.
We need a
So,
BDL cleanup crew like
yeah,
Cornwall has.
yeah.
Oh,
I-
trust me, I thought of it.
Oh, I was successful in getting the Cornwall cleanup crew to come and go right outside of our front door and clean up the train station area. So that was exciting. I've been working after that for about 9 months, and the Cornwall cleanup crew came and finally took my recommendation of a spot to pick, and they had a real haul, which we appreciate. But again, if anybody's spirited and wants to take on section on Route 94 that's heavily littered in debris, and we also have on Lake Road a number of spots, and Beaver Brook area, just blow around trash. I just hate to see it, and I wish everybody else would just want to jump on board and get it out of there. If somebody wants to get a few people together, I'm happy to be part of that, so.
The beach
What other
isn't
thing
that
have we-
bad this year.
No, the beach isn't bad. Brutal
I
winter.
finished doing the stone line, well, the stone trim after we expanded, restored the beach, not expanded it.
Yeah.
But that's kept a lot of the weeds out. I mean, it really just needs a good raking, and maybe it depends on when our herbicide treatment is, but how much plants are in there.
I mean, having a frigid cold winter has definitely kept things down.
From what I've seen on a clear day, there's not much there yet, a lot of fish nests
Mm.
on along the shore.
This is where, Jason?
Right here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Have we had any progress about getting a maintenance man?
You just read my mind, so I'm gonna. Let's table that for 30 seconds. I'm gonna come back to it. So resident forum, that was actually my board member comment tonight. Resident forum, is there anybody else that has anything, residents in the room or online
Maintenance person.
that have something that they want to voice, or? If you do, you get 3 minutes.
Good out there?
No, everybody's good, just wanna get the experience in. Good. All right, so moving on from the resident forum to the board member comments. I guess I can just start, with what Fred had mentioned. So we for a short amount of time, we had a maintenance person. We are about to have one again. We have a lot of applicants over the last 5 months. Some were really highly qualified, some were, inexperienced but tried, and so we're trying to get someone, especially as near the community, who's gonna be reliable, who's done a similar job before. And we believe we have it down to a few select candidates that we're gonna reach out to. So yeah, we're close to that, because Larry mentioned that garbage cans and such, and that's probably one of the highest profile things when we get to the green season, is that the garbage cans not getting filled, not getting cleared out, and then somebody's gonna ask, well, wasn't the board, it's the board, we all work, we're not around. So that's the reason why the county has a maintenance person, not just for garbage, they do other things, upkeep around here. So all the things that are being done to prep for the beach, that is completely all done on a volunteer basis, there's no one making a cent off of this. So, but yes, to answer your question, we are, we have an applicant that is in mind to implement, and we're gonna reach out to them, so. Great. Yeah, so they work out.
Oh, we gotta put the beach sign back in.
Yeah, I pulled it out, I'll put it back in, don't worry. It's just as simple as putting in the split rail fence, requires no concrete, it's just post hole digger, down on the stand, pack it in, it's done. Any other board members have anything?
Does it need to be in the center?
No, just needs to be in front of the beach, it can be off to the
They
side.
put it off the sides and just for aesthetics.
All right, well,
reasons.
we can discuss that, yeah, okay. I just wanna get us out of here, we're at 8:06, and I think we've done a lot.
Fine job, fine job.
All right, We'll do with that. Do you wanna mention anything about the contest? Do you wanna make that your board member content?
Oh,
Comment?
sure, yeah. I looked at the county website and they have a picture of a lake that I'm pretty sure is not our lake. So if anyone's got a nice landscape picture, I didn't clarify that in the email that we can put up on there, that'd be appreciated. And then we can send it out and have people vote on it.
I think you've got a few responses already.
We got a few, not too many landscapes, because we could landscape them, but then they're gonna get cropped and we lose pixels.
Jargon and all that. Alright, motion to adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Number one here. Yeah.
I'll second it. Second it. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks for coming.
Hey.
We turn.